Good morning, everyone. Beautiful Saturday morning. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. It's an exciting day because I love Ocean Reef and I love talking about Ocean Reef. So it's going to be an interesting webinar from different perspectives. Typically speaking, when we do these webinars, we give a lot of information about the projects and we don't get so much into pricing. This webinar is going to be considerably different because we are going to get into very specifics about pricing for Ocean Reef, show specific examples, show specific listings. So it's a little bit of a market analysis and trying to make sure that everybody has as much information as possible. So welcome. I'm not going to start right away as I'm going to give people a little bit more time to join. But my name is Duncan McGowan. I'm the CEO and one of the founders of Punta Pacifica Realty. Joining me today on this webinar is going to be Pietro Volonino. Pietro, if you could turn on your camera for a moment and say hi to everybody, just so they can put your face to the name.
Of course. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Duncan, for the introduction. I'm here to help in the background with any questions. So feel free to ask whatever comes to mind. I am here answering your questions.
So just a little bit of how the webinar is going to unfold. The chat option is currently turned off, but the Q&A is active. Since I'm going to be doing the presentation, but you guys feel free to ask any questions during the Q&A. During the webinar, you can ask them on the Q&A, and Pietro will be answering those questions on the Q&A. If anybody would like to test and just make sure how everything is working fine, if in the Q&A you could please put your name and where you're joining us from. It's always fun to see where people come and get on these webinars. We have people from all over the world that are always here. People from South America, North America, lots of USA and Canada, especially with this cold spell that's, really been hitting hard. I think people are looking south a lot, but we have a lot of Europeans. We've got people from New Zealand, from Australia, really all over the world. People join, and I think Panama is a hot topic. I think Panama is on a lot of people's minds. I always say that as the world appears to have more and more turmoil and chaos, Panama sort of shines more and more as that safe, calm oasis of peace. And we have, for that reason, more and more people constantly looking at Panama, not just as a place to invest, but as a place to move and live, a place to call their new home. So I think I'm going to wait a couple more minutes before we get started. I'll change the image for those of you that have been looking at the one image all the time. And Ocean Reef, we have been involved with Ocean Reef almost from the beginning. I think a lot of people, when Ocean Reef was first announced that it was going to happen, a lot of people sort of said, oh, it's never going to get built. It's never going to happen. And then slowly the islands did start to form. They did start to get built. Over time, they got more and more developed, and still people were sort of kind of slow to catch on. But at this point in time in the development phase of Ocean Reef, I think everybody realizes that, wow, this is amazing. This is one of a kind. And I almost missed the boat, but not yet, because there's still some opportunities left on Ocean Reef. And I'm going to get into that in this webinar a little bit more. So it's 10:04. I think I'm going to wait one more minute at 10:05, and then I'll get started on the webinar. I have this background picture, and several people said, that's not a very clear picture, that's not a very good picture. And I said, but I love this picture. And I chose this picture for my background because the sunsets from Ocean Reef are absolutely spectacular. I'm going to sort of move my head to the side a little bit, and you guys can get a good look. But Ocean Reef has some of the most spectacular sunsets, and also amazing sunrises. It just depends on which direction you're facing. But we get both sunsets and sunrises on Ocean Reef, and they're absolutely spectacular. It's nothing better than sitting on your balcony, watching the sunset, having a nice glass of wine, and enjoying life in this beautiful island. So 10:05, there's a lot of people that have joined. I see a few more getting in, but I think I'm going to get started. I'm going to get into a little bit of, like I said earlier, this is going to be a lot of detailed and analytical information, specifically about the pricing of Ocean Reef, what's available on Ocean Reef, and what you can get today on Ocean Reef. And of course, just to put things into perspective a little bit, for anybody that is not 100% familiar with Ocean Reef are two man-made islands just off the coast of downtown Panama City. As you can see, they're connected by a short bridge, and so you can drive on and off the island. But once you're on these islands, you really have that feel that you're in this secluded tropical paradise, but you look out and you see the skylines of beautiful Panama City, and of course all of the great amenities and services that Panama City offers. I'm going to get a little bit, I'm not going to get into too much detail, but I am going to get a little bit into why Panama is such an attractive country and becoming more and more attractive to people as they look into it. So again, I'm not, the purpose of the webinar is not for me to be reading everything that you're seeing on the screen. You guys can see that. But as I was saying earlier, we are getting more and more people all the time looking at Panama as a place to move, some right away. Some of them are not moving right away, but they're getting the residency, they're getting set up, they're getting structured so that in the future they can move to Panama. Slide on the left, it's very cold right now in North America. I have family in Canada. I even have family in Miami that are saying, wow, it's so cold. We obviously are not getting hit by that cold wave. The cold wave did come down to Central America. It didn't get as far south as Panama, so we're still doing okay. And the other big advantage to Panama, of course, is because of the geographical location of Panama, there are no hurricanes, which again is another big issue for people in the Caribbean. The hurricanes and of course the sargassum, the seaweed that's been affecting, we're not getting that in Panama either. But this image on the right, it basically shows every recorded hurricane in history, and you can see that none of those hurricanes have ever touched upon Panama. One of the big reasons that people are looking at Panama now is because of how easy it is to get permanent residency in the country. And a lot of people, even if they're not moving here right now, are taking advantage of it, because you never know when governments change residency programs, change limits, change the qualifications for it. But essentially in Panama, if you do a $300,000 minimum investment in real estate, within 45 days, you can get your permanent Panamanian residency. And to keep that residency active, you only need to come into the country once every 2 years. So again, another of the big advantages of Panama is the residency program. And incidentally, just I was reading in the newspaper that it's actually been in the news the last week, is that Panama has started the process to become one of the few, or be the second Latin American country that can enter the US without requiring a US visa, which is huge. Right now in Latin America, Chile can enter the US without requiring a US visa. I believe they just need to go online and get a travel document. And Panama would be the second Latin American country if it gets approved. It's not approved yet, but the process has been started, and it looks like Panama should get that. And one of the other big reasons for Panama is the gastronomy. Panama has amazing gastronomy, huge variety of gastronomy, and relatively inexpensive compared to other places. My wife and I were big foodies. We love going out. We love going out to eat. We love experimenting all the different restaurants, all the variety that Panama offers. And again, as when I talked about Ocean Reef, it's connected to downtown Panama City by that short bridge. Here's another perspective of Ocean Reef Islands. So again, as I mentioned, it's two islands. The island that you see closest to you on the screen would be the first island that was built. That island has a different zoning than the second island. The first island is typically homes, large homes, 3-story houses, and so that's 100% sold out. All the lots have been sold. It was sold as lots, and then people were able to purchase a lot and develop their house. That's why you see some empty lots there. It doesn't mean those lots are available. Those lots have been sold, and the owners have just not started construction of their homes yet. And then the island that's a little bit further away on the other side of the marina is island number 2. And that island has a different zoning where the buildings can be as tall as 6 stories. And because of that, that's where you've seen a lot of the condominium buildings coming up. Again, just different pictures, different perspectives, so people can understand what it is and what it looks like. You can see views from everywhere, whether you're on the east side, the west side, the north side, you have views everywhere. You have sunset or sunrise, rather looking into the marina or looking out towards the city, towards the Panama Canal, towards the old colonial part of Panama City, which is Casco Viejo, to the islands further out in the distance. And actually, let me go back to that because you can kind of see some of the islands in the background. And I think that's one of the reasons that makes Panama City and having access to your boat and marina right there so special. There are hundreds of islands off the coast of Panama, and many of those are a very, very short boat ride. Actually, I should say thousands of islands probably off the coast of Panama. The closest island to Panama City with a beautiful beach is called Toboga Island. And depending on the boat you have, you can probably get there in 30 to 40 minutes. So when people are wondering, well, where do you go when you go out with your boat? You can go fishing, but you can go visit islands. We also have the archipelago of the Pearl Islands. Those are 36 beautiful, beautiful islands. And again, it depends on the boat. It can be anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours to get there. As fast as an hour, again, if you're on a very fast boat. And this is an archipelago of islands. When you get there, you'd swear that you're in the Caribbean. It's beautiful white sand beaches, azure water. Some of those islands are developed with restaurants and hotels and homes. And some of those islands are completely deserted, where you can kind of just pull up on your boat and have a deserted beach to yourself. So getting into a little bit more into Ocean Reef itself. Again, Ocean Reef is one of the 2 most exclusive communities in Panama. I would say the 2 most exclusive communities would be Ocean Reef Islands and Santa Maria Golf and Country Club. Santa Maria Golf and Country Club is a golf community, great for people that love golfing. Some of the properties have views of the ocean to the distance, and then you have Ocean Reef, which is of course what today's webinar is about. And these are the 2 man-made islands, which are unique, not just to Panama, but really they're the only man-made islands on the whole Pacific coast of the Americas. I love showing people how this all began and how it all started. And I'm going to get a little bit, I'm not into too much detail, but if anybody in here is really into the engineering and wants to understand how these islands were built, I'm happy to share information with you after the webinar. But when sales started for Ocean Reef Islands, if you look on the top left picture, which is just one little island kind of sitting off there, people would go out there on a boat and with the developer, and he would sort of point out and say, you guys see where that seagull is sitting in the water? That's where your home is going to be. So the first buyers were obviously had faith in the developer, faith in the project. And the way that the islands were built is the perimeter was built first. It was built with natural stone, and I'm going to get into that a little bit more into the webinar. And then it was filled in the center with sand. They didn't just lay the natural stone. There was a lot of dredging. This project brought together some of the world's biggest engineering companies for the creation and reclamation of land, which is what these islands were. So the fact that the islands are created by natural stone, that natural stone created in a manner or way of speaking a reef, which attracted small fish, not a reef and say, but a sheltered area for small fish to come, which attracted larger fish who would feed on small, which attracted even larger fish. So there's a lot of marine life around there. Even dolphins have been spotted off Ocean Reef Islands. Dolphins, turtles, all different kinds of marine life. But it's interesting, people who were in the high rises around the islands could sit on their balcony all day watching the construction of these islands going on. And the actual companies behind it, This project brought together some of the world's biggest and most prestigious engineering companies for land reclamation projects and for the building of artificial islands. As you can see, the two of the companies are from the Netherlands, because of course, if you're going to do a land reclamation project, you definitely want to have the Dutch involved. But there was engineering companies from the US, from Belgium, one Panamanian company, engineering company was involved. There was companies from the UK, there was companies from Germany involved. So this really was a first-class international project, which did bring together, as I said, some of the top engineering companies in the world specifically for land reclamation projects. Now, actually, before I go on, I did want to point out the concession that the government gave for the construction of these islands was originally given to a company who built the highway that went out to the airport, and that company sold that concession to the developer. Once the islands were built, the Supreme Court of Panama passed a ruling that said it was unconstitutional to build islands, but that these were grandfathered in. So these islands are being sold as titled land, just as if you were buying on the mainland, but they're the first and the last. There will be no more islands like this built in Panama. And I think that's such an important thing to point out, because with scarcity in such a spectacular location, property prices have been increasing at the fastest rate of anywhere in Panama and will continue to do so, especially as the inventory dwindles down, as developers are finishing delivering the last of the inventory that's available. We will see these prices continue to increase exponentially. One of the questions that people love to ask is, what about rising sea levels? What happens if the sea rises to my island homes? So here is a chart of the mean low water springs. You can read above what that means, but basically it's the mean level above sea level of the islands, and it shows all the different points in Panama City, which are oceanfront. So you've got Costa del Este, Balboa Avenue, the new reclaimed Cinta Costera, which is, many people think it's part of Balboa Avenue, but it's the same thing. The Amador Causeway, the ports, and of course, the Ocean Reef Islands. And you can see just how high above sea level Ocean Reef Islands sits. So, I mean, there was a lot of planning. Again, these engineering companies that were involved in the project, they studied everything, even just to create the shape of the islands. The shape of the islands was a very well thought out process, and it wasn't just a random, I'm going to make the shape of the islands. There was a lot of studies in engineering that went behind even the shape of the islands. So, and then another thing that's interesting, which I'm going to touch on, let me see if in the next picture, if you see the perimeter of the island, you can kind of see that there's tunnel there. So anything that's related to the marina happens underground. It goes through these tunnels, which people would go down at the very entrance of Ocean Reef and park in the underground parking area, and then get moving by electrical vehicles to get to the tunnel, to anything to do with the marina. Again, this keeps the top part of the islands residential and away from all of the activity that would be related to the marina, which is happening underground. Same with to get to the heliports. Ocean Reef has 2 heliports. And again, you would go underground to get to these heliports. So very, very well thought out. But again, if we go back to the altitude above sea level of the islands, in order to support these tunnels, these tunnels have to be high enough above sea level so that there is no flooding. And then, of course, Ocean Reef is built above the tunnels. So again, just to put things into perspective as to how high above sea level it's actually located. So Ocean Reef is a community which will have the Marina and Yacht Club restaurants. There currently is already a great restaurant on the island. There will be more which are joining, more amenities, more commercial areas. The water sports center, which is amazing. You can go down there and you can do kayaking, you can do stand-up paddle, you can rent jet skis. They have a sailing school there. So a lot, and I believe that as more and more people move to Ocean Reef, the level of activities will continue to rise and get more and more. Again, the on-site restaurants, the lap pools, the tennis courts, the paddleball courts, and more that's coming. This is a commercial amenity that is currently under construction, which will be sort of a small shopping mall. And again, all of these amenities are exclusive to Ocean Reef residents. So if you don't live on Ocean Reef, unless somebody from Ocean Reef invites you and is accompanying you, you will not have access to all of these amenities and services. But what's being created here is also something that would allow you to almost live full-time on Ocean Reef and not have to go out to get supplies or to get, obviously you're going to go out. But you know, the islands will be self-sufficient. And of course, the heart of Ocean Reef, which is the Marina. And again, it's you can get to all of these great islands, lots of great places to explore. Like I said, some islands are developed and have people living on it. Some islands are deserted. Some, like Tobago, which is the closest island, you can go to the back part of the island and that's deserted, and you could be on the front part where all the beautiful beaches are. And then there's lots of restaurants and activities there. But lots to do, and you know, I love going out on boats. I love going out on yachts. I personally don't own a yacht. I have friends who own yachts, and I kind of like it that way. It gets all the fun without the responsibility. And again, what we've done here is we've tried to put as many great pictures in as possible, just so that you have an idea of the lifestyle and of the beauty of Ocean Reef. Again, more pictures, of course. An important point on this one is there's actually a gas station in the marina. You know, we have some marinas that don't have gas stations. People have to travel to another spot to gas up. But here we have a full service marina. And look at the beautiful skyline of Panama City behind it. So, like I said, it's such, and it's hard to put into words, but it's such an amazing experience to be sitting on these islands, because you do feel that you're on a beautiful tropical island, but you look out and you've got this major metropolis, this amazing city with all sorts of amenities, from shopping to hospital to gastronomy to nightlife, the international airport with its connectivity. You know, there's just so much that's happening here. But the big thing is scarcity. There is no more islands that can be built in Panama. The Supreme Court declared it unconstitutional. And there's almost no more major developments going on. There's a few developments that are happening. There's a few developments that are coming out. But most of the major development on Ocean Reef has been done. And so the idea here is to show people what's left, both in the secondary resale market as well as directly from the developer, to put comparison. But as these developers finish rolling out the last of the projects, the prices will continue to go up. And just to sort of put that into perspective with what's happening in the rest of the world, we have prepared this global price analysis. I know that it was sent out on some of the earlier emails, and hopefully you were able to download and review that report. We're going to go over some of the high points of it here, which, you know, we have done this, and this is a older picture, so that's why you don't see the development. We, you know, again, we were looking for spectacular pictures, and as you can see, the marina hasn't even been built in this picture. But we were comparing it to some of the other island destinations around the globe that people might be choosing to purchase, and we took real life comparisons. So we went in and we look at, if I was to purchase something today, for example, in Fisher Island in Miami, what would my price be? And there is a development that's currently underway in Fisher Island, pre-construction. And again, their price, $4,416 a square foot. We looked at Jumeirah Bay Islands in Dubai. Real prices today, if you were to buy there, $3,684 a square foot. We looked at Paradise Islands in the Bahamas, $938 a square foot. And we looked at Ocean Reef Islands, Panama, which is at $645 a square foot. So as you can see, there is a lot of room for these prices to continue to go up. Ocean Reef Islands is very unique. It has something very special. I think each one of these island destinations offers something very special. I think what Ocean Reef offers that make it so special is that short bridge that connects these islands to the mainland. So you can literally drive into downtown Panama City and experience all of the high points of the city. Like I said, the gastronomy, the shopping, the nightlife, the restaurants, and that connectivity, that amazing connectivity from the airport, from Panama City. So outside of that comparison that I gave you, I wanted to sort of get into some real projects that have amenities that would be considerable to a first-class resort destination. If you go to a resort in the Caribbean, so what sort of amenities and services we have, and a lot of these projects are offering that. Now, Seascape is a project that's 100% sold out. So this is amazing, and it's one of the projects that faces the sunrise. So you get absolutely amazing sunrises from here, and also one of the projects where dolphins have been spotted swimming, just off the coast there. In the distance is Costa del Este. So at nighttime, you're not just looking out into ocean, but you have I don't know if Costa del Este would even be considered a suburb. I guess it is a suburb, but it's almost like a small city to itself. So here's a very specific example of pricing in Costa del Este, in Seascape, and what you get for those prices. Again, the purpose of the webinar is not for me to be reading things off of these slides to you, as you can see it. It's sort of to be explaining a little bit more and talking more about it. This is a beautiful, fully furnished apartment. We've highlighted some of the pictures. And if anybody for this listing and other listings that we'll be going through has any specific questions, you can chat it to Pietro on the Q&A, or we can go over it again at the end of this presentation. We will have another Q&A. Oops. And again, just more pictures of the spectacular project and of the actual apartment. One picture there. Again, the Signature Resort Collection, we're going to get into another one of the projects, which is Casa del Mar. Now, Casa del Mar is another unique and very special project because it also has the resort-type properties. Again, 100% sold out. But what makes this project different than Seascape, because every one of these projects is a different attraction, is that as part of the ownership of the apartments, you also have access to a shared boat. And this project specifically would be facing sunset. So, we have sunrise people, we have sunset people, depends what you want. And it also comes with an absolutely amazing social area, lots of services, lots of amenities, and of course, the boat. So we have a 36-foot pursuit, which is shared ownership. It comes with its own captain, so everybody gets a turn. There's a rotation system. Everybody gets a turn, and you only pay for gas when you go out on that boat. Here's an example of a property that is for sale in this specific project. Again, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to sort of let people that are on this webinar understand what is available on Ocean Reef, whether it's on the secondary resale market or direct from the developer, and what the price point is for that. So, we often do these webinars and we highlight spectacular projects. People look at these projects and they start calling, and when they find out the price, they're shocked and they say, well, that's not in my budget. Or other people look at these prices and say, wow, I bought in Fisher Island. This is a giveaway. I'm going to buy two. But the idea again is to give you guys the access. Another one of the projects, which was actually the first of the Signature Resort projects that was built on Ocean Reef Islands. This is Beach Club Residences. Beach Club Residences is another project that faces the sunset, and very special, lots of amenities, over the top amenities in this project. And as part of those amenities, and one of the things, let me go back here, that I really love about the amenities of this specific project, it has a rooftop gym and social area. It has a ground level social area, and it also includes, in the middle picture, the dock that you see there is also part of the project. So it has before you get there, there's a beach level, so a white sand beach, and then you get down to the floating dock. So you can literally go down in the evening, like I said, go down with your bottle of wines and sit on the dock and just enjoy the view from there, or you can be on the rooftop. But so much diversity in the amenities that it never feels crowded or busy. And we have a very special apartment in this one. And what makes this apartment so special is it is right on the social area level. So you have your apartment, you have a small garden, and you can walk out to the pool areas. These ground floor apartments have been extremely popular because of the fact that it's almost like you're at a home and that this amenity is yours. Now, there's not a lot of apartments in this building, and so most times there's not people in the social area. So this is almost becomes like your private social area where you can walk out and you can enjoy the time there. You can be in the pool. You can go right into your apartment without having to go into the elevators. Again, it gives you direct access to all these amenities as if you were in a private home. Sort of moving on to one of the larger properties that are currently available. This project is called Sky Homes. Sky Homes is very unique in the fact that they are literally homes in the sky. These apartments have very large balconies with a swimming pool on the balcony. Thereby, they don't actually have a large social area like all the other projects have, because your balcony becomes your social area. Beautiful project facing the sunset. It does have its own private gym, which is one of the few amenities, shared amenities that it offers. But, to keep in mind, everything on Ocean Reef, all these projects have their own exclusive amenities that are only for residents of that project. But the island itself offers a lot of amenities, and I'll get into that in the next few slides. Again, this is a very large apartment, 509 square meters. That's about almost 5,500 square feet. 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, 4 parking spaces, and again, spectacular, beautiful views. There you can see the pool, which in this case, in the higher floors, is more of a plunge pool. Jumping on, wow, so many great projects. And again, everything that I had been showing up until now were resale properties. In the Palms, the developer is delivering the last of the apartments, and he has a handful, and when I say a handful, literally a handful of apartments that are still for sale directly from the developer. The Palms Beach Resort probably has the largest social area and amenities of all of the projects that are existing on Ocean Reef, all of the resort type projects. And the list of amenities is amazing, but when you're actually there and you walk it and you see everything that it offers, you understand how special this specific project is that is the Palms. Again, we're showing an example of one of the properties that the developer has available. So this is a direct developer purchase. Beautiful apartment. Again, it's just being finalized, getting close to delivery. And so we don't have pictures of the inside of the apartment, but it is developer ready and developer ready to deliver. Another project available from the developer, which is not 100% ready for immediate delivery, is Club Residences. Now, Club Residences sits in the center, so it's not on the perimeter of the island. It's one of the center lots. But because of the way that the building has been positioned and designed, the apartment that we're going to be highlighting here, which is one of the penthouses, looks right over the buildings that are in front of it, which are small villas. And so it looks right over and gives you great ocean view. But Club Residences also brings in a lot of the amenities that Ocean Reef Islands offers. I know when I showed you pictures earlier in the presentation in the amenities part about the mall, the small sort of mall that's under construction, that mall will be in this project in Club Residences. Here you can see the construction that's currently underway. And this is a render of what it would look like as a finished project. What you see below where the large pool is, that exists already. That's not a render. That well, in here it's renderized, but that's an existing the existing blue club that's available to all owners of the island. But what Club Residence brings, apart from the commercial areas, is it brings pickleball courts, it brings paddleball courts, it brings a sports bar, its own private pool, actually 2 private pools for the residents, and then the paddle courts, which are available to all of Ocean Reef Island residents. So again, here you have people, playing paddle tennis or pickleball, sorry. And there you have people in the sports bar, which is just above. So the idea here is you could be up at the sports bar and you can be looking down at the people playing down below you. And again, 3 courts up top, 2 courts in this level that we're looking at now in the frontal picture. Again, its own private gym. This private gym is for the residents only. Ocean Reef as an island amongst the amenities will offer. There's currently a gym for everyone in the island outside of the gyms that are inside the specific resorts, but there will be a large gym available for all resorts, a spa, and more restaurants can be built outside of the restaurants that will exist in this specific building. Again, so Ocean Reef amenities, the yacht club, the water sports club, the wellness center, the racket club, lots of amenities. This is meant for an active lifestyle. Wellness is top of mind. And here we get a little bit to the one property. Let me just make sure I didn't miss a slide. To the one property that we're highlighting in here is one of the penthouses. One of the big differences is that these are smaller penthouses. So these are 2-bedroom penthouses with a jacuzzi on the balcony. And even though they are on a center lot, they will offer beautiful ocean views because, like I said, they're looking over 3-story villas, which would be the ocean front. And this penthouse occupies floors 5 and 6. So to give you a little bit of an idea of the pricing, what you get here, this is a project that is under construction. Delivery will be in 2027. And again, there is 1 penthouse left. And this is the penthouse, like I said, 2 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, beautiful, beautiful views from this penthouse of the ocean. A little bit about the distribution and what you would get for that distribution. So again, the purpose of, let me go back to the pricing on it. The purpose of the webinar is to sort of show you existing properties in the resale market. Many of these which have been finished, ready to deliver developer inventory, which is what we saw in the Palms. And then this is Club Residences. Like I said, this is the only penthouse that's left available in Club Residences. And this is also developer inventory, but it would be ready under construction and ready for delivery 2027. And the final project that we did want to highlight, this project has not been announced yet. This is a project which is to be launched very, very shortly. So you will be able to get information. We'll be sending emails about this specific project. This would be considered pre-construction, a project that is not launched yet, which has not started construction yet. And it will be, I believe, that the groundbreaking, so to start digging for construction, should be happening next week. So it's early days for the project. Again, this is a project Marina faces the marina and gets the sunset. Oops. And here's a render of the project. Now the project has one of the most spectacular ground floor residences I've seen. It has a lower penthouse and it has a spectacular penthouse, 2-story penthouse. And for this presentation, to sort of finish off with a truly spectacular property, I'm going to focus on the penthouse to give you an idea of what that is. And if anybody wants information of the other properties, though, please reach out to Pietro and he can provide information, everything else. This project does offer a rooftop social area. And what you're seeing in the bottom left picture is actually not a social area for the building. That is the ground floor apartment, and that is the spectacular garden of that ground floor apartment. The middle picture, you're looking at the rooftop social area. And then the far right is the interior shot of one of the apartments. And what makes this building so special, and when I say special, it's truly special. If you looked in the image of the render of the actual building, to the left, you see the house that's actually housed in the lot to the left, and that house is one story. So typically speaking, these buildings only have views to the front because you have other buildings to the side. In this one, because of the location, you have a home to the side of it, which means that you have that whole side view, especially when you're up in this spectacular penthouse. Now, this is, like I said, very large, 606 square meters, so about 6,500, 6,600 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 4.5 bathrooms. Let me just make sure I didn't. Okay. I think I think we have a mistake here. It's 4 ensuite bathrooms. But here you can see the view from Island 1 looking towards where the project is going to be built. This is the penthouse itself on level 500. You beautiful double height living room, double height windows looking towards the marina. Getting the sunset from there as well. And I'm going to go back up to here just to say this is a very high ticket item. We've shown properties, we've tried to give a diversity of properties that start just a little over $1 million. This is the most expensive property that we're highlighting. It is a very, very special project though. And obviously people will have the opportunity to slowly pay it over time while it gets constructed and delivered. But of course, this project also has smaller sized apartments. Just for this specific one, we decided to choose the penthouse to highlight, to feature. Now, on Ocean Reef, and I did not put it in this presentation, there are a couple, and when I say a couple, it's probably 2 or 3 properties that can still be purchased just under $1 million. If anyone is interested in anything like that, please reach out to Pietro and contact Pietro. We are going to start the question and answer. And so I'm going to ask Pietro to come on live. I know that there's been a lot of questions that have been coming in, and then there's more questions that are arising. So Pietro, if you can come live for a moment and start answering some questions. I'm going to shut off. I'm going to shut off for 1 second, and then I will come back and join you in a second while Pietro goes on with his questions.
Awesome. Yes. Well, hello, everyone. There's actually one question later on for Duncan specifically, but we'll start off with Linda's question from Nashville, Tennessee. How easy is it to get in and out of Ocean Reef? Well, Linda, Ocean Reef is right in front of the ocean, but the islands are connected by a private bridge to the city, specifically to Punta Pacifica. So it provides easy access to the hospitals, the malls, the restaurants, and downtown Panama City. It's literally 10-15 minutes away from the heart of Panama City, so the access is amazing. You get the benefit of being in the highest end residential community in Panama and being really, really, really close to everything, but having your privacy. Getting in and out of Ocean Reef is quite easy, despite it having 2 security points to get in. We also got a different question from Noah from San Diego, California. Noah is asking, is Ocean Reef more for living or for investing? Well, Noah, great question, but I think that's a simple answer because Ocean Reef is pretty great for both. Living in private island with resort amenities is pretty hard to match. Some buyers choose it because of the lifestyle and the exclusivity, while others choose it purely as an investment because of the very limited supply. So you got a mixture of both, and of course, people see the long-term capital appreciation to investing in two man-made islands. I mean, that is something just off the bat extremely unique and extremely rare. And we do have it in Panama City. And in reality, people want to come to Panama, and some people don't even know we have these beautiful two man-made islands. So it's something very, very special that we have here. We have a question from Brian from Boston, Massachusetts. Is it possible to sail directly from Ocean Reef Islands? Hey, Brian. I went to college at Bell University right outside of Boston. So, hello there. So yes, to answer your question, yes, all properties have access to a private marina in Ocean Reef. However, it is a private marina and people do need their own slips. However, you're allowed to go sailing, to practice water sports activities, and you can also go on a yacht from there. And as Duncan mentioned earlier, some of the properties face the marina and some of the properties have direct ocean views. So you can pick and choose what type of views you want in Ocean Reef, and several of the projects that Duncan mentioned have different views, so you can take advantage of that as well. However, take into consideration that there's two man-made islands, with Island 1 and Island 2, and the marina is right in the middle. So, Duncan, there's a question for you. Adam from Tampa, Florida. What is your favorite development that is built, and what is your favorite pre-construction development in Ocean Reef? Duncan, you're muted.
Good question. And you're kind of putting me on the spot here, trying to pick a favorite project. I would be tough pressed to say which is my favorite one. I think they all offer something very special and very unique. And I don't want to pick one over the other. It really depends what you're looking for and what your lifestyle is. I have friends that live in Casa del Mar, and they absolutely love being able to go out on that boat whenever their turn comes up. But then there's other people that say, you know what, I like all of the wellness amenities from Seascape or the social area from Palms. So again, very difficult to be able to make a choice as to which one would be my favorite. I think they're all great and they all offer something special, something for everybody. The pre-construction or the one that's about to start construction, Solimar, I know the developer well. He's a good friend of mine, and I actually helped with him, trying a lot of feedback and consulting on the development of that project. So that is a project that's kind of close to my heart. One of the big things that I said is we need an over-the-top spectacular penthouse, and we need a spectacular ground floor apartment. And that both of them are probably the most unique penthouse and ground floor apartments on Ocean Reef. So anybody that's interested in those, again, please reach out to Pietro to get very specific information about it.
Awesome. Thank you, Duncan. So as you were speaking, we received a question from Susan from Panama. She's asking, what is the HOA for Solimar? So the HOA for Solimar is $3.5 per square meter. So that is the HOA for your specific unit is calculated by the specific size of the apartment. We have an additional question from Trevor from Scottsdale, Arizona. How is the safety of the residents guaranteed in Ocean Reef? Well, Trevor, so Ocean Reef are two man-made islands. The project features 24/7 security, controlled access, and a state-of-the-art surveillance systems to provide peace of mind to the residents and the owners and the visitors. But take into consideration that to enter Ocean Reef, you need to pass 2 security points. So I would say it's very, very safe. And in general, Panama is a happy country and a safe country as well. And we also have a question from James from Wellington, New Zealand. what sets Ocean Reef apart from other communities? Well, James, Ocean Reef is completely different from all communities in Panama. These are two man-made islands. These are the most exclusive projects in Panama, perhaps even in Central America. It's the vibe that you get the second you enter Ocean Reef. It's something absolutely spectacular. It is amazing. It is uncomparable to anything I have ever experienced in Panama City. And I mean, if Ocean Reef is a paradise for sea lovers as well. It offers luxury, exclusivity, comfort, and you're facing the ocean. Wherever you are in Ocean Reef, you're facing the ocean, which is absolutely amazing. And what sets it apart from other communities is, from a pure real estate aspect, there's limited supply. So these are two man-made islands. By the constitutional law of Panama, there cannot be more. So in real estate, when there's limited supply, it always tends to go well. And we have an additional question here. France Blaze. Can owners do Airbnb in Ocean Reef? Okay, France. So owners in Ocean Reef is a residential community. It's a very protected community. So and usually people tend to rent for long term more than in short term. And each individual building has its own bylaws as well, protecting renters for longer terms of time.
And sorry, just to jump in on this, Francis, or France. First of all, the law in Panama City says that the shortest rental that can be done, unless it has a hotel license, is 45 days. But on Ocean Reef Islands specifically, pretty much all of these properties are limiting rentals to 6-month contracts. So no, you will not get any Airbnb people in there, and you will not have any short-term renters in there.
Awesome. Thank you, Duncan. So we also received an additional question from Nair Villa. What are the sizes of the middle apartments in Solimar? So, okay, just to be clear, the apartment that Duncan presented in Solimar is the penthouse unit, which is absolutely spectacular. That unit has 606 square meters. In Solimar, in the units that are not penthouses, they vary around the 400-ish square meters. And if you have any specific questions, my email is right on the slide as well. It's pietro@puntapacificarealty.com, and we can schedule a call right after this meeting ends. I'm here to help. Really, any questions, any of you guys have, feel free to shoot. It can be about Panama, it could be specifically about Ocean Reef, or it can be about different projects in the islands as well. I live right next to Ocean Reef. It's beautiful, it's amazing, and it's definitely the place in Panama where everyone wants to be. So Duncan, at the moment, we have answered all the questions.
Okay, well, I'm sure as people think this over and look at it, there will be more questions coming up. And we are available. Pietro would be the main point of contact. His email, quite simple, pietro@puntapacificarealty.com. Of course, I'm always available as well if you need any additional information. But Pietro is our expert on all those fine details that most people don't have access to or don't know right away. But please reach out to us. Please let us know any questions you have. And I want to thank everybody for joining us on this beautiful Saturday morning. And I hope everybody has a great and wonderful Saturday.
Bye-bye, everyone.
So bye-bye, everybody. See.